All right, y'all. Welcome to another interview, and today we got Marquis. Marquis is a person I found on YouTube recently, just chilling in my bed at night. And me and Cody always working during the day, figuring out people we could connect with. And this is one of the things we do around the community when it comes to just connecting with different media production individuals, videographers, photographers, freelancers, business owners, whatever you want to call yourself, a brand ambassador, a marketing specialist, whatever category we don't fit in. um, we call ourselves everything. But long story short, I met Marquis through YouTube, and I DM'd him on Instagram. I try to find many ways to contact you, and I found it. You responded, and I'm appreciative of that.
No
Because one
problem.
of the hardest things to do in Atlanta is to find serious individuals at that. And I know we tried to do this call several times. So, Mr. Marquis, I'm gonna let you go ahead and tell your story and why did you choose media production.
All right. So, very appreciative for being here. It's great what you're doing. Um, so yeah, growing up in New York originally, my dad did a lot of video production, a lot of media for this church that, he helped with. And from there, I was there helping him work and everything and helping him stream, set up cameras and everything like that. So once I saw, it was pretty fun for me growing up. So once I saw, they had all this stuff around, I was like, let me try it out for myself. Let me see what I could do with it. So when he used to bring the cameras home, I used to just make little home videos, little home movies, because, I loved watching movies and everything. So after that, I started, teaching myself how to actually get a little more deep into it, how to make money out of it. And once I reached high school, that's where I was like, a lot of people want this media thing. They want to, for instance, showcase. I used to do a lot of basketball stuff. So
Okay.
they wanted to, see themselves and everything like that. So once I got there, I started saying, I could probably make, a little business out of this and make a little money. So from there, I just scaled it up and pretty much that's how we're here now.
Okay, okay. So
Yeah.
tell me a little bit more. Tell me a little bit more about the right now. So what's the perspective from starting? What are the results that you're producing now?
Right now, I just finished college like
Hmm.
last May. So outside of there, I was doing a lot of, graduation shoots, video shoots, commercials, and I started scaling my business from practically making like a couple $100s a month to making almost like 6 to 8 thousand a month with, different things like retainers, um, different freelance stuff. So right now I'm trying to, share some of the information that I have. That's why I started YouTube, especially once I graduated, because I was like, how can I give back? How can I be that person that I wanted, like I wish I had when I was growing up to, help me and everything like that. So that's how I got to YouTube and I started, just putting out content and showing a little more transparency because, a lot of people, I'm not even gonna lie, even in my circle, they be gatekeeping. They be gatekeeping a lot of stuff.
Oh
They don't
yeah, they
want to,
do.
yeah, they like try to keep the stuff to themselves. And I
Yeah.
was like, some of this stuff I don't feel like you have to, like you should be paying for or you should be, scouring too much to look for, different advice and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
that's how I ended up here now.
Okay. Okay. So
Yeah.
what's like one of the things like what's your main focus right now?
My main focus right now is really it's really sports, like sports videography, sports commercials. For instance, I recently did something with Derrick Rose for his retirement weekend back in Chicago. So I've been trying to really just do sports documentaries because I love sports and I love telling people stories. So that's one of the things like I'm really focusing on, as well as just helping the community.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
And community. Let's talk a little bit about community because
Hmm.
that's me and Cody's like main focus right now with Course Creator Academy. And that was one of the things me and Cody saw in your YouTube bio was
Hmm.
the community aspect. So tell us more about the perspective on community.
I feel like, well, I guess I could get a little more personal. Growing up, I never liked help. I never liked having somebody else, help me, especially like doing video. I was pretty selfish. Like I felt like I could do everything by myself. But one time in high school, the teacher told me like, you got to accept help and you got to, bring people in because the community, makes things easier for you. So I was like, I'm gonna bring people on. 'Cause, some people may be stronger than you in certain aspects. Like,
Yeah.
for instance, I may be good at video, but somebody may be better than me in audio or things like that. So I wanted to just have more sense of, togetherness when it came to other people. And from there, I was like, I want to invite people who don't really know too much about this and try to have them, integrated in what I have right now. So
Perfect.
I just feel like community is a very important thing to have because you can help people as well as they can help you right back. So
Okay, so is it the community aspect of working together, or you just more so empowering and educating and inspiring at the same time, or all of the above?
it's really all of the above, all of the above. I want to
Okay.
help inspire, but I also want to help learn from other people. So
Yeah, yeah. I think that's super important.
mhm.
Simple fact that it is a lot of people out here that actually don't know the information, that's not saying anything, and giving bad results to certain people.
Yeah.
When videographers get booked and things like that, they're not just coming out saying, "Hey, I don't properly know what I'm doing, and I
Hmm.
find this as a way to make money, so I'm just gonna let it ride like that." And
Yeah.
individuals like ourselves come along and just help that out. We kind of clean it up like, hey, you don't know what you're doing. It's perfectly fine. The fact that you don't know what you're doing, but we're open to teach you and inspire you to do better. So
Yeah.
that's a great thing that we have this kind of thought in our mind to even have a community and push forward through community.
Yeah.
So I think that's super important, and the fact that you're taking advantage of YouTube. And I found you just like I said, I wasn't looking. I was just
Yeah.
scrolling through. You know how you just click on different people. I said, let me check him out. He look cool, and you had a dope little video, man. I think it was how to make 10,000 a month, something like that.
Yeah.
Yep, it was pretty solid, man. It's pretty
Appreciate it.
solid. So I was
Appreciate it.
like, let me reach out, and I didn't know you was in Atlanta, so this is pretty interesting, Cody.
Oh, okay. That's
Yeah,
good.
Yeah.
yeah. So what have you? Do you come in the Metro Atlanta area? Like, do you do work on this side or more so
Uh,
travel?
to be honest, it's more so travel because, um, especially since I just graduated college, it's like it's actually my first time living here full time, if that makes sense.
Hmm.
So usually my work is Florida
Hmm.
because I moved all over. I was born in New York, moved to Florida, then I moved to Georgia. So most of my work is in Florida, and I usually fly out for it. But I've done a couple stuff in Georgia, but I'm trying to scale it more since I'm actually here full time now.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. Yeah, I can't wait to see. Well, I want to get the opportunity to work with you personally.
for sure, for sure.
And hopefully one day we get to come together with this. And
Mhm.
so tell us some of the things that because this is an educational platform. So give us some game, man, about so you do videography mainly, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, so tell us some information or some tips and tricks on doing videography in the sports world.
Okay, so let me think. So just sports.
Well, yeah, you can start with sport, or if you got any information that you want to share, period,
Okay.
when it comes to sharing
Yeah,
some
I'll
information.
just give a general sense. Um, so when it comes to videography, I always tell a lot of people that you can't just show up with a camera. Like it's more than just taking a camera, pointing and shooting. Like there's different aspects to actually like creating a sustainable business, for example, when it comes to video. So for instance, one of the things I like to do growing up, I was always a creative. I always had like, a different mind when it came to certain things. So I tried to adapt it when it came to video. So I tell a lot of people when you start to do video, think of yourself more like a creative director
Yeah,
or, for instance, like pre-production and things of that nature. So I always say like get the idea, break it down and say, okay, how can I add a little more of a cinematic flair, for instance,
yeah,
or how can I add more of a creative flair? And it's pretty much you just got to think outside the box because I will say when it comes to video and cameras and all that, it's very saturated. Like a lot of people are actually doing this video thing, but they may not be as how do I say creative as you. So I say always think of it rather than you just holding the camera. Think of it as how can I make this business generate
yeah,
more income? How can I make it appeal to a certain audience? Because for instance, let's say if we do like let's say if I'm doing like a commercial for like a retirement home or something like that, I actually, instead of just, going and pointing and shooting and saying, okay, you want to interview, you want this, you want that, I try to curate it to each audience. So for instance, if I'm doing sports, I try to curate it to, what's trending or, uh, things like that. Like I try to get a little more deep than just pulling up with a camera. So that's one of the biggest things I always tell people to show up, but show up also with your own ideas and try to expand on their ideas.
yeah. That's fun that you said it, because that's why I started off like that when I was like marketing specialist,
Yeah.
and all of that, because at some point you're gonna have to become more than just the do boy with the camera in your hand.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And so basically that's why I said what I said. And
So
that
when
go ahead.
you're coming up with like creative ideas for clients, like what do you find is one of the hardest things to start? Because there's like I know most people might start with a storyboard. You might
Mm.
start with just jotting down ideas. Like, what is the hardest part of the process when it comes to doing a creative idea from start to finish with a client?
Uh, I'll say the hardest part is. Let me think about it real quick. Hmm.
There you go. That's a great question, Mr. Cody.
Yeah, that's a good question. I'll say the hardest part is being creative, but also not taking away too much from the story, if that makes sense.
Mm,
So, for instance, um, like when I used to make sports documentaries or like sports videos, I'm not the type of person to put like too much, effects or things of like that. I try to think of how can I tell the story because it's one thing to have, great visuals and all that, but it's like, okay, how can I actually make this appealing to who I'm showing it to? How can I actually tell a story with this? How can I be creative with it? And then presenting it to these people because a lot of times they don't really know. Like they think of commercials like somebody just has an idea and they just go out and shoot it. But it's a lot of, like you said, storyboarding, pre-planning. So I say the pretty much the hardest part is how to tell a story, make it look creative, and make it resonate with people. So that's what I would say.
yeah. And you also said cinematic earlier.
Yeah.
Tell me what that means in your perspective.
Yeah, because I know a lot of people love to use the term cinematic when it
Yeah,
comes to
exactly.
different things. Yeah. Um, I think of cinematic more so like how can I make it more appealing to real life, if that makes sense. So for instance, when I think of like cinematic visuals or something like that, I think of how to immerse the person into the story. So for instance, if I'm talking about like for instance, I did something with a clothing brand. And rather than just they had the idea just to, show off the bag, do a little story, but I tried to add different visuals such as like the POV from the bag, if that makes sense, or like them opening the bag and opening it up and the person is inside of it, if that kind of makes sense, like your view is inside the bag. So I think of when it comes to cinematic visuals, I think of really just how to immerse the person into the story. So
That's great.
yeah.
Actually, that was one of our questions with our last class. Somebody had came up and asked, are different angle types important? Because we was talking
Mm,
about low angles, top angles, and actually, we said, you got to keep the game how it is, and we was like, it's an option. Camera angles, camera shot styles, and different things. That's optional. You can make the boring video and get
yeah.
away with it. You can make the simple, creative video with no camera in the bag, unzipping it, and to still
Mm,
tell a great story. But
yeah, for sure.
it will bring your video to life, like you said, and
Mm,
and show some level of creativity and make people want to keep watching your content specifically.
mm,
Like right now, we're a big fan of Nike. The reason why they keep
yeah,
us so engaged because they get the point across through a highly engaging video that still tell a story, and it's very
exactly.
simple. It's simple. Now they don't have the whole coming out the bag. It's
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
running shots, running shots, running shots.
Yep.
It's a great story with different colors and temperatures and stuff like that.
Yeah,
Because I
I
was
think a lot of their shots are based around color grading.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, it's pretty much coloring. But I will say that outside of just like, the cool shots and things like that, I think also because I really like Nike commercials. Like I love Nike commercials. Like
Yeah.
that's one of the things, like that's one of the brands that I've always wanted to work with.
Okay.
But one of the things I will say, I guess kind of in the realm of angles and whatnot, it's like for instance, like a lot of people, for instance, they like to use gimbals, right? So, like steady shots, things like that. But appealing to the cinematic part that I said, it's like, for instance, like when they're doing running shots, usually it's not steady, or
Yeah.
depending on what the story is, it's usually not steady. So, like when I'm shooting running shots, for example, I usually shoot it handheld because it gives kind of like the illusion that you're there.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
The real
so
life here.
yeah, so that's one of the things I wanted to add before, but you know, always having different angles, different techniques, not always using static shots, not always using gimbals, but different things kind of like put the story together and immerse the person in the story. So
Yeah. No. No. That's actually a great explanation
yeah,
on making a great story because having the camera shaking a little bit sometimes do bring it to life.
Mm-hmm.
Because all the extra smooth still be making it too corporate.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because
and it
like
takes
most
away.
most action scenes, especially in like army and veteran movies and stuff, are always running and they'll even jump with the camera with them. Like it's never no steady shot most of the time.
Yeah.
All right, so let's talk to the people that's trying to get clients.
Mm.
So talk about that. What's your experience with getting clients and etc.?
Uh, hmm. Yeah, clients is a big one because I really do think it depends on things like, your experience level, your market. For instance, like if you're in a small town, let's say versus like Atlanta, you may find more clients in Atlanta. So it's like the biggest thing I say is really just networking. Like I can't stress networking enough. Like a lot of people, would say things like, for instance, like college isn't worth it, or you waste money on college. But I made a lot of my clients, like even the ones that I still use today, from college because I network with these people. They see what I do. So I think being a person outside of the camera, like actually being like, a person who can talk to people, a person who can relate with people, have conversations outside of just the camera sense, it will make you seem more appealing to becoming like a business partner with them. So I would say, like if I had to start over from scratch, the first thing I would really do is pretty much bring my camera everywhere. Like I always tell everybody, just bring your camera everywhere. Like I have hard drives on hard drives of years where I just brought my camera out. People would see that I have my camera. They'd be like, "Oh, what you do?" Blah blah. Things like that. They'll be like, I have an engagement or these things showing up. And once I would get there, I would blow it out of the water, make it look, crazy, stunning visuals and everything. And from there, they would start to refer me to other people. So that's why I usually say start out doing free work. Like you can hop into, let's say, for instance, like a restaurant,
Yeah.
and you could be like, hey, I do video, I do photo. Do you mind me doing, a couple shots or like a little spec commercial for you for free? And usually it gives them like nothing to lose because if it looks garbage, it was for free. So you don't have no problem with that. So I always say start off doing free work, network with people, become a likable, personable person. And from there, they'll start to refer you to other people as well as they even have stuff like online, like little videography or photography groups that you can join and people can post, hey, I need an editor. Hey, I need a videographer, things like that. So I think it's really just starting free, bringing your camera everywhere and networking basically.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I was definitely going to ask you to go deeper in networking because networking can mean a lot of different things. But
Yeah.
that was also one of the things I did too. Walked around my camera all the time,
Mm.
even at restaurants, everything. So that is one of the things. So after you network and things like that, what's the next step?
Well, once I network, so you mean like how do I
Getting the client.
okay. So the first thing I do is create a proposal.
Mm-hmm.
So let's say if their business is, let's say real estate, for example. One thing I do is I look at their listing. Like I'll purposely look for like listings where they're a little lackluster, like they can use better pictures or better videos. And I would go ahead, send an email or even cold call. I still think cold calling is better because a lot of emails, get lost.
Man.
So, and I just get there, I create a great proposal. For instance, if I'm doing a brand shoot, I would create like mood boards or like vision boards, and I would basically have it set out very professional that the person would look at it and be like, dang, like this guy really knows what he's talking about. Because
Yeah.
it's really getting the client is really in your proposal and showing that you know what you're talking about. You
Mm-hmm.
know exactly what to do. Like you have everything detailed and listed out. And sometimes once they see a great proposal, they'll be like, okay, he knows what he's talking about. Let me take him on. And then you can negotiate things outside of that. But, prepare for a lot of no's, a lot of, non-answer, like people not
Yeah.
answering. Cause I had a lot of that. Like for instance, when I was doing real estate, I messaged like a whole bunch of agencies, a whole bunch of people that put up listings, and I ain't get not one. And I sent out like a couple hundred. So I really think it's just showing your value in the beginning with a proposal and making it look professional, and then from there you can scale from then
Yeah.
on.
Yeah. That's actually great advice. One of my biggest favorite advice when it comes to finding rooms like that is find the big fish and all
Mm-hmm.
the little fish will be around in the same room.
Yeah.
Cause that's actually one of my results when it came to real estate. I found the owner of the brokerage, and the owner of the
Mhm.
brokerage is going to have all of the students and the up and coming real estate agents in the room. And when they get to the point where they're producing a result, they will soon book you. So that is one of the things I stand on too
Mm.
when finding clients. All right, so after the proposal, you made the storyboard and you get the yes.
Mhm.
What's your next step after that?
All right, my next step is to obviously, negotiate different things such as price and, getting paid what you're worth. But once I show up there, I show up, early as possible, just so that, I mean business. And once I get there, I have everything set for the client already. So I have uh let's say for instance, if I get to, let's say, like a studio, for example, and we're
Yeah,
doing something in the studio, I get there, I set everything up early so that by the time the client gets there, everything's already set up and I can make their life a little less stressful. And once I do the shoot, I try to, be personable, be funny, be easy to work with, explain everything out to the client, and just give them a great like experience while I'm shooting with them.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, okay. And when you say giving them the experience, what is that?
Uh really just like I said, being a personal person, being easy to work with, understanding that, you know, for instance, like if they're in a time crunch trying to get things done at a, quick pace, a fast manner, and basically just showing them like, like I mean business.
Okay, okay. You
Yeah.
standing on it. Okay, so what's your pricing? Do you negotiate? Are you the type to just stand on it? What's your principles and values when it comes to pricing?
Yeah. So yeah, pricing can be I think it's one of the hardest things to actually get to an agreement with. Um, But one thing I will do, like I never give a price like right out the gate. Like for instance, if they ask me, do you shoot a music video? Or like how much do you charge for music videos? I don't tell them a price right out the gate. I usually ask for like every detail because you don't want to, overextend yourself and, kill yourself. Cause next thing you know, you're like, okay, yeah, I charge, let's say at dirt cheap. Let's say I charge like 250 for a music video, but they have me going to Conyers, Covington, Sewanee, like they had me going all over it. Then it's like, yo, like I lost all my profit because I gotta pay for gas, I gotta travel with gear and things like that. So I always say get the scope of the project first because you're gonna shoot yourself in the foot, not like just setting a set price. Like it's crazy. So I usually try to get the whole scope of it. Then when I make like an invoice or a proposal,
My bad.
nah, you good, you good.
That was a fool. Go ahead, go ahead, go ahead.
But
No, I'm looking down the computer.
You seen this in Marquis?
nah,
I thought you
I
was
don't see it.
I
Okay,
thought you was laughing because
nah,
he was talking about how
nah,
he hate. Yeah, go ahead, go
Yeah,
ahead.
I thought that's what you were talking about.
nah, no, go ahead, go ahead, go ahead. I
But
just see you.
I thought you said because the music videos that somebody tried to charge me was the same similar. Nah, okay, go ahead.
but yeah, so once I start negotiating prices, I try to put everything into it, such as travel fees if I got to travel, um, things like hourly rates or day rates,
Yeah,
and then from there, I put deliverables as well as, and I just make the proposal look very professional, very
yeah,
easy to read. And I usually negotiate prices. Like if the person seems cool, I usually negotiate the prices. If they give me a hard time, I'm standing firm on that price. But I
yeah,
usually try to work with everybody's budgets and I try to tell people to bundle things so that it seems more appealing. So for instance, if we like doing a wedding, I try to add different things like, okay, the preparation is gonna cost this much, but
yeah,
the ceremony and reception may cost this much. So if you want to bundle the preparation, like I try to make it very easy for them to understand and easy for them to see what they're paying for and see the value. And then I also add different things like, for instance, my first wedding, I did like a little decorative box that had
yeah,
like the video on like flash drives, and the wife especially loved it because she was like, oh, it's cute. So just showing that it's more than just a video, but I'm giving you like a whole experience as well. And then
mm,
I try to negotiate with their prices because I know it's a little bit hard out here. So like for singular people, I try to negotiate prices, but for businesses, like they gonna make money off of you. So it's
yeah,
like,
yeah. Exactly.
Yeah,
Their whole purpose of getting a video made is to
yeah,
make money.
Yeah,
So
I like that because that's how I try to look at it too. If they're gonna make on the back end, if they're gonna make 10, 20 plus $1,000 or whatever, then yeah, I'm gonna charge you.
yeah, like I'm gonna stand firm in my price when it comes to businesses because they always gonna try to cut costs and they're gonna try to, play with you. So I just stand firm in my price when it comes to businesses. But when it comes to like singular people, like families or couples, I try to negotiate it if I see like they cool people. So
Okay, so just basically depending on the type of project.
yeah, the type of project or the type of client, usually I negotiate prices. But if it's like a big, large scale project where like I'm going to be editing for like a couple of days or shooting for a couple of days, like I try to tell them what I'm worth and stand firm on it.
Yeah, I do like how you say you ask a lot of questions.
Hmm.
Because questions do end up leading you to the deal being closed for sure. I do that a lot. I
Yeah.
have a whole meeting just to get to know you and then leave without talking about the service. And then
Hmm.
the
Yeah.
next time we're gonna talk about service, and I'm still not gonna talk about the price because I feel like it's some details missing, and I
Yeah.
need to get to the bottom of this. So because we all been in situations where we go ahead say the price, get to the situation, and it's like, okay, what is this?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
undercharge undercharge them. So
Yeah, client expectation is big because you, like you say, you definitely don't want to get in the room and figure out they want 2 times what they said they wanted. And now
exactly.
you just messed up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So have you ever been in a situation where you made an agreement with a person and you got there and the agreements kind of changed? How you go about that? Oh yeah, that's the one right there. That head like,
I'm,
that's
I'm,
the
I'm
one.
gonna tell you a little story. So, once in college, I was out with a girl. I was on
Yeah,
like a little date or whatever,
yeah,
and somebody called me and was like, "Hey, can you do a quick shoot?" And I was like, "Okay, when?" They were like, "Right now." And I was like, "You don't think that's like a little bit crazy?" They're like, "Oh, I'll pay you what you're worth, blah blah this and the third." So I'm like, "All right, bet." So they told me that they only wanted a couple pictures downtown. It was back when I was in school in Alabama. It was little stuff downtown, and that was pretty much it. One location, that's it. We good, right? We get there, we start shooting. I start shooting with both of the girls, and after some time, they're like, "Oh, let's go over there. Like, I like how that look. I like how
yeah.
this look." And then in my head, I'm like, "Y'all know y'all got to pay for this, right?" So I ended up, still doing it, and I told them, one, you called me at a very, very inconvenient time. Like I had the girl knew that I did video and stuff, so she understand, but she was sitting in the car the whole time,
Yeah.
just chilling. And um I was like, okay, you're gonna have to pay for this. Cause she told me it was only gonna be like 30 minutes. We ended up being out there for like 2 hours. So we were out there for 2 hours. We were
Wah,
shooting.
wah, wah.
We were shooting and everything. And originally we agreed on probably like 10 pictures because it'll be something slight. I ended up taking probably like 300, 400, and we stayed out there for like 2 hours.
Yeah,
So once I got back to them with a price, they were like, whoa, like, why I gotta, like, this is kind of crazy. I said, do you not realize, one, you asked me the day of, not even the day of, the second, like right when I was out chilling by myself, chilling with a girl,
yeah,
you asked me to come out and shoot a picture, shoot some pictures. I
yeah,
came out, shot it. You told me 30 minutes. We ended up spending 2 hours. You asked for 10 pictures. I sent them, the ones that they wanted me to edit.
yeah.
And I think they ended up picking probably like 100 something. And I
God,
and I'm like, yo, y'all don't realize like you're trying to play with me.
That's crazy.
So during the time I'm texting them, I'm like, okay, it's gonna cost X amount of dollars. I don't remember
yeah,
the money at the time, but it's
yeah,
gonna cost X amount of dollars. And she was like, come on, like, we all in college and this, that, and the third. And she tried to point out that one time I posted on my story that I had to buy something for my car, and I was like, dang, it's like as soon as I get paid, something got to get paid for. So she saw that and she was like, see, you posted like you had to pay something for your car and blah blah. I'm like,
Oh
this girl,
God.
like she's trying to play with me. So I
yeah.
was like, nah, like I can't do this to myself. Like, one, you called me at a very inconvenient time. You told me it's gonna take X amount of time and it took me way longer. Like, you gotta pay for that. And she started asking other photographers at the school, like, oh, how much would you charge? And they were like, oh, he's
Oh my,
charging too much. And I'm like speaking very humbly, like they weren't necessarily on my level. So I'm like, you can't really ask them. As well as I tell them at school, like, like you're undercharging yourself and things like that. So I was like, trying to guilt trip me is crazy. So then she was like, well, I can't pay for that. The funny thing was the other girl, she was fine because essentially they were gonna split the cost. The
Yeah,
other
like,
girl never complained. This girl complained. And my thing was like, if you had a photo shoot in mind, why would you book a photo shoot if you know that you don't have all that money? Like you don't have that bread ready? Because that's wasting my time. So I told her, I was like, I'm not gonna lie, like I'm not giving you the pictures if you don't pay the set price. And I probably would have been more lenient with it if she came at me a little
yeah,
better
yeah,
rather
yeah.
than try to like guilt trip me or gaslight me. But essentially, I just delete all the photos and I was like, I'm not gonna do this with y'all. I'm done. And it was funny because the next day she posted herself at an expensive restaurant and all that. So
Of course.
I was like, y'all are crazy. So
Yeah, it
I just
always
had
be
to
the
stand
ones
on
that owe
business.
you, boy. They be in Dubai riding jet ski.
In a
Man.
Maserati, in a
What is
spaceship,
it in a
bro.
Rolls Royce?
In a Rolls Royce, bro. Like,
Hitting the Ric Flair. Woo!
Yeah.
Nigga, and on the other side of that phone,
well, I done
did,
seen it and heard
I
it
did it.
all,
I did
boy.
it today. Hey, Cody, tell me about the phone calls.
Well, I'm just listening on the other end of the phone call, and I just hear somebody like, he's like, "All right, how much can I get do for?" And he's like, "I'll be this price." And dude's like, "Woo!" I'm like, man, he must be on the phone with Ric Flair or something, because this dude sound like he just heard a damn astronomical number he never heard of before or something.
Yeah.
Like they act like you trying to like steal from them or something, but like
He
you
said,
called me
"Woo!"
for the service.
He said, "Well,
Exactly.
yeah."
And at a very, very inconvenient time. And
Yeah,
I could have said, well, I don't know if I could say hell, but I could have said hell nah and
Yeah.
just, stay to myself. But I was like, I'm gonna help you out. But they didn't want to pay. So I was just like, you know what? Picture's gone. So
yep. I've had to delete footage before myself. I know that. Yep.
yeah.
Yeah, nah, that is the biggest thing though, man. My bad, let me turn this up a little bit. Well, with clients and stuff like that, man, it can be sometimes you got to go ahead and weave them out, take the nose, intentionally take the nose, especially when you're in that period of trying to increase your pricing. You're gonna have to go ahead and run through. I think of it like this: if you go look for car insurance, there are a lot of expensive car insurance companies, and you have cheaper ones. And I was talking to Cody about this analogy. It's like, so most clients look at it like, okay, I got this amount, I'm gonna try to press it on them. But if you try to press your price on Progressive or Geico, you only gonna get the bare minimum coverage.
Yeah.
You're not gonna get the rental car. You're not gonna get the low deductible. You're not gonna get any of that. You're gonna get the highest deductible, no rental car. If you get in a wreck,
No
you're paying out of
towing.
pocket. You know what I'm saying?
You
You're
ain't
paying out of
nothing.
pocket.
Yep.
So
Thing. It's
same
like
situation.
people always want the quality, but they don't want to pay for the quality.
Okay, let's talk that talk, George.
Yep.
Talk that talk. Let's get that. What let's get it. They don't want to pay for the quality. So what kind of camera are you shooting on?
Right now, well, this one that I usually shoot with the A7S3.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we on the FX3s. So what you like about that camera?
Well, originally I got it when I had an A6300 because that's what I really started off, my business with. And then I was like, I kind of wanted something a little hybrid because the FX3 was an option, but I was like, I like having, even though
Got
it's like
take a picture.
12, yeah, even though it's like 12 megapixels, that's
not
like
it.
straight. No, to
Yeah.
me it's straight for like little social media stuff
Yeah.
or like little posts like that. To me, it was straight. Like I was fine with it. But obviously for client stuff, then I used to like rent out other bodies because I didn't really do photo too much. But I'm probably gonna get maybe like a little A7R or something like that. But for right now, yeah, I just use the A7S3 because it was easier to travel with, easier to do two things and photos when it wasn't like the main thing. I could still get by with 12 megapixels. So
Okay. Oh wait, the S3 is 12 megapixels too?
yeah, the S3 is 12 megapixels.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That's dope. All right, man. I will appreciate you for joining this call, man. Like I said, our main focus is to connect with as many people around the industry so we can let your story be heard and your perspective. Because as many people that, of course, we got similar stories and we all heard the overall story in the same when it comes to certain level of clients. But as you grow higher on the ladder, you start getting bigger and better experiences, and you start to love the craft a little harder, and you tend to be an individual that love it. And you love to share your information that you learn, which is a powerful thing because, like I said, it's not a lot of them, and it is some people trying to do it, but they're doing it in a very bad way where the information is also false.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Um,
we've heard so much. Like, that's kind of what made us want to do this. Is we've heard so much of bad information being given to people, and in the end you realize it hurts you, because those people who've been given this bad information is starting to work for you, and it's like, wow, you're literally taking wrong concepts and using them in my business, and now it's really not coming out good. So that's kind of why we made Course Creator Academy. Of course, it is a paid thing that we're doing, is but at the end of the day, we're never afraid to give away free game. We're never afraid to take someone under a wing for free, and we're never afraid to we won't gatekeep, because
Yeah.
we don't do that around here.
Not for sure, for sure.
so yeah. Overall, that's it, man. We appreciate you. And that's today's interview. Thank y'all for tapping in.
Appreciate you.